Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you listen to Live from the Path. You are Live from the Path. I am Ben Foose. It's good to be with you this evening. And we got a heck of a deal. Heck of a deal coming on, boys.
I can't wait.
So Can I introduce myself now? You introduce yourself.
I get the cool mic, and I get to say, hey, how you doing? So they get to know my name.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. That's John Boover III.
How you doing?
Also, Mike Foose is on the way. Bob Eisenlauer, Bob the Big Easy Eisenlauer, is going to be in tonight. His vehicle is broken down at the Quick Trip. Maybe you're not supposed to tell people that. Is that gossipy?
I feel like that is. But have we talked to him about his new nickname? Is he cool with the Big Easy?
I'm not sure
are we
on
not
that.
Caring
no, I'm not sure on that. We didn't ask him. Here's what got going on the show tonight. So Bob the Big Easy Eisenlauer is going to be in. And we're talking. So tonight, if you remember from last week, like you watched the show, if you remember from last week, we were talking about whether it's what the reaction is if a man breaks into your place. Is it okay to shoot him, or should you be willing to take a bullet for the opportunity to talk to him about Jesus? And so I don't know. We're gonna chat through that a little bit more and see if we can come to some sort of resolution.
I'm excited.
So we're gonna do that. Also, we got how not to disciple like a Pharisee.
Okay.
I also want, so the question of the day is if you were recasting the movie It's a Wonderful Life, all right, what Bible folk would you put in the different roles, right? So for example, if you were to cast the movie It's a Wonderful Life and you had to cast George Bailey using only characters from the Bible, who would you cast?
Can I start? I'm ready.
What do you mean you're ready? What do you got?
I got. Did you? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe George Bailey is going to be Zechariah.
Why?
What do you mean?
Why? You can't just throw it. He has to have a reason.
Yeah, okay. Zechariah's, he's humble. He's troubled at times. Remember when he doubted the angel? The angel said, "There's big trouble coming to you. You keep this up." Now, no talkie. I feel like it's Zechariah all the way.
All right, I could go Zechariah for George
Jeremiah.
Bailey.
He's kind of a whiner.
Bailey's not a whiner.
I've only seen the movie like once.
Yeah,
like 30 years ago.
John Bova has never seen
this?
It's a Wonderful Life.
I'd never really even heard of it until today.
He called me before the show started, and he goes, "What's It's a Wonderful Life?"
Are you serious?
If y'all don't want to be my friend anymore, I completely understand that.
I'm not saying you don't love Jesus if you've not seen it.
Well, I would hope you're not saying that because I do, but
I mean,
I've never even really heard of It's a Wonderful Life.
It's like another book of the Bible.
It predates all of us.
It's like another book of the Bible. Is that what you said?
Because one of the guys, when the angel's getting trapped under the cop, he goes, "Joseph, oh Joseph," and that's a biblical name.
Wow. All right.
So it's a Torah. I don't know. I don't. Anybody else, Mike?
I didn't really have time to think about it.
Okay, put the thought on it. What I made it. Wait, I thought I had an Uncle Billy. Oh, he's obscure. King Ahaz is my Uncle Billy, because Ahaz in Isaiah, it's like 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. So there's a couple other kings that are plotting against Ahaz in one of the kingdoms, and he's all worried about it, and he's fretting around about it. And ultimately, God gives him a prediction which points to Jesus, but also happens during his time about a baby being born as a sign that God's going to carry you through this thing. But you remember Uncle Billy he's always got the things tied around his fingers and stuff, and he's all freaking out about things.
Yeah.
Obscure Ahaz for Uncle Billy.
Totally.
I feel like there's not enough commentary on Ahaz to really argue with you either way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how I.
It's like casting the sheriff, the cop man, as Jairus. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just not enough on Jairus.
I'm gonna agree.
Military man.
All right. Anyway, put the thoughts on that. See if you come to it. Bob Eisenlauer's in studio. Hey, Bob.
How's it going?
Now,
guys?
have you heard that we've been referring to you as the Big Easy?
I heard the Big Easy referred to last show.
Yeah.
I think it was.
What are your thoughts on that? Is it going to be all right with you?
I laughed out loud. I wouldn't tell people to call me that.
That might be a much.
But
you
I'll
know?
take it.
Yeah. By
My
the
name
way,
tag
they
now
call me
says-
the Big Easy.
That's right.
That's true. It's way different if you try to get that going on your own.
I've actually tried to start my own name tag or my own nickname, and so far it's been going pretty well. My wife said it was stupid, and but the other people, I tried to get people to start calling me Bomag.
Bomag.
Yeah, I heard. I was walking into work one day, and they were talking about. They're like, "Did you get that estimate back from Bomag?" I'm like, "Bomag, that's hip."
Score.
I said, "Any chance y'all gonna call me the Bomag?" And they said, "Do we have to put the in front of it?" I said, "Yeah, I think you do." And so I got a couple people on board that call me the Bomag.
I feel like you should never be able to start your own nickname.
Here's
I feel like that should be something that's given to you.
No,
at
if
all
I don't,
times.
if I don't get it, someone else will take it. Someone else be the Bomag.
I don't think that there's a line running to the Bomag, Mike.
Well, not for people like you. Definitely not.
Fair enough.
If someone else comes up with it, it might not be as positive as you want it to be.
I've come up with many nicknames in my life for myself,
Yeah.
and they've all failed.
Like, give me an idea. Give me a couple.
King Unibrow.
The Steam.
King Unibrow and Troy the Earthquake Ingledinger. I thought was pretty cool. But apparently John Boover III is the one that stuck the most, and I have no desire to have that one still. But it's keeping going.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we're gonna do with it. All right.
Do we sell on our John Buva shirts?
No. They've been for sale for a few years now, and no one so far. Nobody.
I didn't even...
All right. Here's the deal. So question that's on the table is about violence.
Right on.
Who's got the violence? So someone breaks into your house. You and your family are in there. Man's got a gun. You can also happen to have a weapon.
Okay.
All right. So the question is what responsibility do you have to try to share Jesus with that man that has broken into your place? Or for the protection of your family, do you shoot the man? I mean, he's a threat. I mean, he's got a weapon in your house. I'm not saying he's not a threat. So kind of what's the right handle? What's the right way to handle that particular situation? You shoot him. You try to share Jesus and go down with the ship. What do you do?
I mean, I feel like it might be hard to start the conversation. It depends on what he's asking for. I mean, is he demanding? Is he demanding something? Like, does he want cash, gold?
No, you just
He
hear,
just wants the violence.
yeah. You just hear him sniffing around in there.
Oh, so I caught him off guard.
Yeah, like he's rooting around in your living room trying to take your TV off the wall.
Do I?
You know he's got a gun? Is that what
You can
said?
see it. Yep.
He's singing a tune. He's
Yeah.
picking the TV up. He's like, "I got a gun. I got a gun."
Yeah.
I'm gonna use
Okay.
He's pretty happy with it.
I'm gonna shoot him.
Dan's been thinking about that all
Have
week.
you put any thought to it, Dan, or you just?
I just would.
Is
And
that the, I'm sorry?
you
Is
know-
that the right move, or is that what you would do?
I'd get his couple kneecaps first, so he's in a lot of pain. I was like, here's the deal. You're going to meet Jesus really soon. You've got 20 seconds to accept him because the next one's in your head.
Excuse me. All right. So just to be clear, Dan,
Whoa.
you would disable the man by shooting his kneecaps, and then when he sat there helpless, you would give him 20 seconds and then shoot him again.
I talk pretty big when I'm here in the microphone.
I was going to say...
I talk a big game when I'm not facing the
I think,
man.
that,
Let's
I
put
think
it this
after
way.
that point in time, it's no longer self-defense or defense for your family. You're about to murder a man.
No. He came into my home with a gun. When I took my training on my gun,
Uh-huh.
they said
The Lord Jesus said, "Go ahead."
he was 3 steps or so below that. It was a retired police officer that said, "You do not want a witness."
That was a
I feel like this
retired
guy.
police
I
officer?
feel like he didn't write Deuteronomy, so his authority is not good.
I'm saying if he's coming in to do some harm in my family, and I'm going to protect my family, I don't know if I'm biblically right. I don't think I'm biblically wrong.
I'm
though.
asking the question about big biblical rightness,
Well,
not
he said,
what the
what would I do?
retired cop said.
I think I'd be biblically okay there, though. I am protecting my family. I would hope he would go to heaven, and if whatever life he has left in him, as it's oozing out of him, I would, do everything I can to say, hey, you're really going to see Jesus soon. Okay.
That's your gospel message? Like, we can't even take the tithe by coercion, and you're taking 20 seconds with a loaded gun to try to get the gospel
Don't
up and
mess with
rolling.
my family.
What if he just had some questions? Would you grant him a few more minutes?
Well, it's up to God at that point. I've done my job. He's done his. You've got a little time left. Do what you can. Ask what you can while you got the time. But
Okay, so what about that situation relieves you of responsibility to share the gospel with this man? You know you're going to heaven. You do not know whether he is going to heaven. What about your earthly justice takes priority over his?
I don't even know if it's I'm protecting my family. I am called as a dad to protect my family, and I'm going to do it. I'm called to call the gospel, to say the gospel to anybody who will listen. At that point, I don't know if he's much of a listener.
Well, you didn't really give him a chance. You shot him in the kneecaps,
Well,
gave him 20
saying,
seconds, and shot him in the face.
I'll be honest, I would not do the kneecaps. I'm going right for the chest.
I feel like you should start with, hey, rather than taking that TV, how about a Bible?
Yeah, that's a winner.
Yep. I'm the one who gets shot first. Just
You're
saying.
right, Bubba.
You know, Jesus is watching.
Millions of people have studied the Bible for years, and that line right there, that'll save them all.
Jesus can see that gun.
If he didn't have like a gun in his hand, I wouldn't just walk up and shoot him. I mean, you don't just go and shoot people. But if he had a gun in his hand and it looked like he was going to use it, and the second I say something, he's swinging around with his gun, bam.
Now, so where this conversation kind of took root is when we were talking last week about deacons, about arming the deacons in case of crazy church violence. It's a thing nowadays for people to find any group of people and start shooting. And the question was, like, if you're in a room full of people that already know Jesus Christ, are you really doing anything, I don't know, kingdom worthy by killing the guy? Him being the only one that doesn't know the salvation that's set out before him.
You're looking for a good Quaker church, aren't you?
You're looking for a reason to sidestep true spirituality.
No.
Give me an example in the New Testament, heavily persecuted church of someone retaliating in their own defense, under persecution.
Do you have any cricket sound effects over there? In the
Now,
see, we just don't have examples of like the church hanging out, where that would be written about. And I mean, we have all kinds of Old Testament examples of Saul or Samson. I mean, there was one thing after another of he went out and of course God didn't tell him to take the temple down. That was kind of he did that on his own.
I don't know. I guess so. Switch back to and I'm not trying to make the case that there's a separation between the heart of God and Old and New Testament. What I'm asking is like you had heavy persecution in the New Testament. You've no examples of someone defending themselves really.
Well, and I'm not talking about if we're being persecuted. We're not going to go hunt people down and shoot them. I wouldn't have gone looking for Saul, at the time, to hunt him down. But if you're in a setting where you have a bunch of innocent people and some dude comes and starts shooting them, I think you have to defend them. You defend the widow, the motherless, the children. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, hey, don't worry, kids, you're going to heaven anyway. I mean, I don't see it. I would sacrifice myself. I think I said this last week. I told my wife many times I would run at the dude thinking he will send his fire on me, and hopefully someone else will have the presence of mind to take him down. At least I'm going to land on top of him, hopefully, if it's it's close enough, and then hopefully everybody's not cowering. Well, I hope he doesn't push him off too soon because he'll keep shooting. Like, I mean, get him down and don't let him continue. I mean, you guys are all looking at me like I'm Satan.
No, I'm just not trying to envision you running at an armed man and then being shot. Hope you don't mind that. I consider you a friend.
I'm not saying I want to do it, but
I understand that.
I mean, I've thought that through enough to think that's the best way I can help. I would rather them shoot me than if there's children there, whoever.
I'm gonna say ahead of time, and guys might yell at me, but I don't think I have the right answer in this because I'm torn between two things. I'm torn between, if it's my family and I want to make sure that they're protected, obviously my worldly self is I'm going to protect my family. And there's nothing that's going to hurt my family because that's my family. Don't come in my house. You will regret it. And also I'm torn between that and, if I've done my job as a father, as a husband, at that point in time, having had a family and a household, I know where they're going. I'm 100% sure of it. And I'm not scared of their deaths.
Right.
I shouldn't be. I should be completely welcoming of their deaths because guess what? They get to go see their father. And hopefully I get to be along there with them. But if I'm not sure about the person that's about to shoot my family, obviously my Christ-following self wants to make sure that I am sure about them. And I don't know, I may be saying this because I don't know the situation, but I don't know if I'd be able to say, hey, I'm so sorry about what's going on. I don't know, why you're in here. I don't know why you need to steal my TV or what's going on, but, take it all. But please let me talk to you. I want to talk to you about Christ. And there's somebody who's looking after you right now. And no matter what you're going through right now, guess what? He knows it. He completely knows it. He loves you no matter what. And I love you no matter what because I know that you are a son or daughter of Christ. And I say that now, obviously, and it may be completely different if I'm ever faced with this situation. Hopefully, I'm not.
And I don't care if they take my TV. They can take everything I've got.
Yeah, no. I would never stop.
But if they start doing physical violence,
Would you help them load the TV up?
If it got him out of my house, absolutely, I'd pick the TV up myself.
Well, I'm calling the insurance guy. Hey, yeah, I'm telling you, man. Hey, watch out.
Hey, will you take that vase over there?
That's my wife's mom's.
That insurance pretty highly.
Yeah,
actually, maybe Old Testament does cover this, like eye for eye, tooth for tooth. You know what I'm saying?
There's no historical record of them actually enforcing that, right? There is no. There's no record that would give you the impression that the Jews actually took that literally. Like they use it as there is a measure, there is a limit to which punishment should be dealt out. You do not, just because you are offended, like if someone steals your baseball mitt, you don't have a right to kill him, is generally the working premise. But like historical documentation would not reflect that the Jews actually took that as a literal means of punishment.
I mean, it's kind of all in the ethereal, right? Because you're taking the question of your life being in danger to the extreme point where it's boiled down in one instance, right? But like if you were to do that, you'd also have to spread it out and say, well, why do you even own yourself a house? To protect myself from the elements, so I don't die. You know what I'm saying? Like, look how many steps you take in a day to keep yourself from dying, and you're pointing to one in particular.
I suppose the difference between that, the elements example, and the man with the weapon is the wind already knows Jesus. He sent it.
Indeed, the wind cannot be talked out. Please just listen to me. Please, I beg of you.
Don't bother me. I'm like the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, knows where I'm kept.
I don't know. I mean, I like picking on the deacon one better. I don't know about the home family. I always just think of stodgy old deacons in full suits, and they just want to carry weapons to up their manhood status, and like I just don't buy into that.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, well, that's the only reason that it would be necessary. The statistics and the odds of it happening are very, very low, very extremely low. And so the churches with a bunch of deacons all fired up with weapons, it's really just it's a manhood ploy and really over ridiculous. But like the home thing, I don't know. I in theory I don't know that I believe what I think, but like I think I'm with Dan. I think you just shoot the guy. What are you gonna do? You know, I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, I hear what you're saying that he's missing a relationship with Christ, but I spend months planning out how I'm gonna talk the gospel to a guy, and this guy I've given him like 10, 15 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I hear him wrestle around in the dark. I peek my head out my bedroom. I say, I am also in arms. Would you like to talk to about Jesus, or would you like to get shot? Go ahead, take your time. I'll give you about 15, 20 seconds, like Hudson. And then if no response or I hear a bunch of rustling or thievery, then I suppose it's shooting time, right? I mean, he had fair warning.
Because it has to be, now we're getting just the legality of it. It has to be legitimately in self-defense. You can't just shoot a guy because you're mad he's in your house. Yeah. There's got to be a obviously you're going to be harmed, a family member is going to be harmed, and you just have to be pretty decisive of where you hit him. I mean, you can't shoot him in the leg. Go, whoops, I missed. Bam, bam, bam. That won't hold up in a court of law.
Oh, I hope not. That's ridiculous.
I didn't mean to hit the three more.
Have you ever had anybody break into your place, Hudson?
My mom has.
Dan,
I was growing up and was gone.
Dan, have you ever had anyone personally break into your house, not about your mom's house?
Well, no, but I had to go through her house. It was creepy.
Okay.
They'd broken out a window and climbed in there and took a bunch of stuff, and it was just,
I have had people break into my house, and I think my presence alone scared them.
Yeah.
They didn't take anything.
No, he just slept on my couch.
Nice.
Jackie Hagler, a Florida woman, says her faith saved her from a recent home invasion that might have otherwise resulted in an armed robbery. Jackie was having a jewelry party at her home in Lake City, Florida, with 15 other ladies. When Derek Lee, 24, allegedly entered the house through an open door. Wearing a ski cap and bandana, He is said to have brandished a gun and told the women to give him their phones and money. They stomped on his face with their stilettos until he died.
Until he died?
No.
Oh.
I stood up.
That's violent.
When Lee allegedly pointed a gun at one guest's head, Hagler put her faith into action. I stood up and said, "In the name of Jesus, get out of my house now." And he said, "I'm going to shoot someone." And I said it again real boldly, Hager told Jacksonville news station. Everybody started chanting, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." And he did a quick scan of the room and ran out of the door as fast as he could go. Hagler said she has forgiven Lee and prayed for his salvation. I'm hoping this situation has led him to trust the Lord and turn his life around.
They scared the crap out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The women started chanting Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus,
I'd
Jesus.
be pretty freaked out.
Yeah.
I feel like if they could have said anything. If they started chanting "pop can"
Yeah.
in a room full of women, I'd have been like,
Hangnail,
"This is
hangnail,
some
hangnail."
crazy stuff here."
I'm out.
This is terrifying. I'm just envisioning one woman standing up, "In the name of Jesus, get out of my house," and then 14 other women, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." I mean,
That man still lives today, and all those ladies are fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying God can't use it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not what I'm saying. He can use anything like them chanting "pop can, pop can, pop can." I'm thinking of, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of ladies where they were just like, "Yeah, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." Like the name is the thing that's causing him to run.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think maybe I think here's where I'm at. I think the biblical distinctions, like when you look at the Old and the New Testament, if that's where we want to fly here, is the gospel is not furthered by violence. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where Jesus is. That's where Jesus is clear. He's saying we don't do that. Like when he's talking about the Pharisees as the kingdom is. He's not talking about his kingdom, but like violent men have laid hold of it, right, via violent means. So, and I think the whole example of Jesus is saying my kingdom does not move forward that way. We don't progress through violence. We don't progress by forcing our will upon other people in a violent way, because that's not how we fight. And so I think that's Jesus' example. I'm not sure that then stretches into we don't fight at all ever, and that there's never a call for physical defense or physical violence, especially when put in the situation where you have, you're protecting the widows and orphans. It is a little bit shallow, I think, to say it's my job to feed them, but not to stop a man from beating them. I think that's a weird distinction from a nonviolence perspective. I think our first reaction shouldn't be that. I think it should be it's a very heavy consequence, because a man that's in that position, I suppose if you had to take your odds on the roulette wheel, there's probably 3 squares that are red and the rest are black, meaning the man doesn't love Jesus when you shoot him. So I mean, you've made a pretty firm decision, and that man's attempt for repentance will be done. And so I mean, I'd really have to feel like somebody else's life was in danger before I think I'd take that step. But I think to take it off the table, I think probably stretches at the bit, to the same extent that someone would point back to the Old Testament and say, look at here look at what the example of going through the promised land and stuff and clearing that out, as if that is a call to violence for progression. And I don't think that's true either. And I think you have to stretch that to make that be the reason that it's okay to have a cannon fodder in your house. Just like I think you'd have to stretch Jesus' example from a nonviolent approach to protection of others. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay.
I could probably be swayed one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right. You're listening to Live from the Path. You can catch us every Monday night here at livefromthepath.org from 10 to 11 p.m. Also Saturdays on 99.3 KTAA. Before I forget, hey, make sure you get out the calendar right now. I'll give you a second. Get out your cell phone, unless you're driving. And I want you to mark 2 dates for me. I want you to mark November 30th and December 6th, both at 7 p.m. The 30th is a Saturday. The 6th is of December is a Friday night. And those are the times for the Christmas from the Path music events that are going on. The one on November 30th is going to be at Zeke's and Ames, and we're bringing together some of the best musical talent here in the greater central Iowa area to perform Christmas favorites and kind of celebrate what Christmas is all about. Jeff Arundel from Century Music Group is leading that deal, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And if you come out to the Zeke's broadcast on November 30th, we're going to broadcast that thing live on KTIA. So during our normal recording or time slot, you guys usually get in a feed from the show on Monday. We're going to pull this thing off live, a live remote from Zeke's at 7 p.m. So try to get out there. It's free to get in. And you can be part of that live studio audience, or you can listen to it on the radio at 7 o'clock, and we'll be on there. December 6th is in Johnson. It's at the Simpson Barn, and that's our home turf here. And we're going to be putting on the same great show in that arena. And please come out to one of those two. Mark your calendar. It's going to be a ton of fun. And I'd be excited to have you come out and say hi and enjoy the good music and good times with Live from the Path at our Christmas from the Path event. Also, kind of along those same lines, we do that annually. And last year's Christmas from the Path audio album should be released probably this week or maybe next week. You can get it on all digital distribution platforms. You should get it on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. You can go out and check out the audio from that kind of stuff. And when you missed it last year, this is you can go pick it up, buy that album.
If you just search Live from the Path, will you find it?
Yeah, you should be able to once it's actually distributed on those things. You could search Live from the Path or Christmas from the Path. Yeah, you should be able to pull it up that way. You can support the program and the artists that are involved by going out and checking that out.
Yeah.
So we'd love to see you be a part of that. Live from the Path is brought to you by the Eisenlauer team. Bob, the Big Easy Eisenlauer, name pending trademark. So here's the deal. We love dealing with Bob. That's why we let him in the studio. And he's been a great partner for the show. And he's helped both Mike and I with some real estate stuff and always been awesome to work with. And so make sure you give Bob a call. You can go to the EisenlauerTeam.com. Bob, what's your phone number if they want to call?
515-979-2883.
979-2883.
Hey, Bob, let me ask you a question. How often do you put that auto text reply on your phone?
You got quite a kick out of that, didn't you?
Yeah, I tell you what, and I thought you got to be kidding me, Bob. You know what I'm saying? I just texted you like 5 minutes ago, and I get like an auto text. Hey, I'm going to be kind of busy. I don't find you very important, blah, blah, blah. I'll get back to you.
You had a pretty good idea in last week's show, because I use that, and I've only used that just to let people know that I'm not able to. I'm busy and I can't be in contact.
You're unimportant. You're just.
Exactly.
It's just rude to say it that way.
But it would be funny to put something like, like I love you or you're the best man.
Something encouraging.
Yeah, on every single text and just kind of freak people out. Like, how come every time I text Bob,
you know what? Bob's a pretty caring guy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how attentive he is to my needs.
That's pretty. It's a nice app. That's a pretty handy app, isn't it?
I think it is.
I didn't think about that because I did text you, and 2 minutes later you texted me and get an auto response that I'm unavailable. Don't try me until tomorrow or something.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I can show you that app later.
I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Mike, if I start getting "I love you" texts from you, I'm gonna know you got that auto reply thing.
I'm gonna change mine to cuddles. Cuddles.
Okay, that's creepy.
Hey, Mike, we need to talk.
Cuddles.
You guys had me cracking up though about the talk about the Pope. I think it was kissing the disfigured guy.
Oh yeah.
Right. And
do you have any advice on dealing with on whether to hug or not to hug, Bob?
That is such a weird. I mean, it's
I bet that happens to you more often too, because you probably got to go to a lot of social events, which differing amount of affections, either depending on the relativeness or the alcohol intake.
Yeah, you're right. I was just after I heard you guys talking about it. I'm in part of a networking group, and it made me think of there's 20, 25 people in this networking group, and there's one lady that I know, and I've known her for 20 some years, and she's probably 55, 60, and I like this lady. I've known her family forever, and when I see her, I hug her. I always hug her, and she's a massage therapist, and she gave a presentation one day at the group and started talking about how, the touch, the healing of human touch and what that does for you. And she used me as an example of how I always give her a hug. And so she started referring to me as the hug guy, Bob's the guy who always hugs. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's weird. I don't hug anybody but her, but there was several new people in the group that day, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, but the next time we had the group, I had several of these people came up to me, and as I'm reaching out, to give the handshake, they're coming in, Bob, and give me a hug.
Bob loves hugs.
Yeah, so I'm getting all these hugs from all these people that I wouldn't otherwise hug, and I kept thinking, so now it's this real awkward thing. Each time we meet, I'm trying to think, do they really expect a hug out of me? Should I be shaking hands? And
that's an insult if you don't hug.
Right, and you can't be the guy that's just like, I'm sorry, the hug guy thing was wrong. I just want to shake your hand.
I'm more standoffish than you thought.
You're coming in for a hug right now.
That was an
She
illustration.
misrepresented me. I don't want a hug from you.
Yeah, I'm canceling. I'm dropping out of this group
Yeah.
now.
You know what? I hug some people, just not people like you.
I was gonna say once they peg you as the hug guy, if you don't hug somebody, I mean they're gonna take that very personally.
Yes,
It's
they
like,
are.
The hug guy totally skipped out on a hug with me. What's that make me?
Yeah, that's like having Bill Clinton over for dinner. He's like, I don't want to talk politics. All right, Bill. You jerk.
He's the hug guy,
That's all I
except
want.
for me.
Yeah, who was it that was talking about being at the wedding?
That was me.
Was that you? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation too, where
Oh, it's terrible.
you don't know anybody in this wedding, and like you said, do I hug? Do I handshake? Do I stand back?
Yeah, do you hide behind your lady?
And that's what you did.
Let her take the fall?
That's what Mike does.
Hello, I'm going to the hors d'oeuvres. Can I get you anything?
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation.
Actually,
You know,
that's happened to me. I mean, on multiple occasions. I always do the weirdest stuff at weddings. I don't generally drink, but everyone doesn't like to move off the table, so I'm usually the beer refill man. I'm like, give me the cups, I'll go get them, And I've cut the bride off multiple times. I'm like, getting beer, no problem, And the bride's like back there with her hands on her hips, like, who is this guy? First he doesn't give me a hug, then he steals all the beer. I got like 8 cups, So I look like I'm just in there going mad wild, I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I hate social events. There's no way to pull them off without being completely awkward.
it is awkward.
Am I the only one who doesn't find social events awkward?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I'm not the hug guy, luckily. No woman has told a story about me being the hug guy. But I don't get awkward moments when someone comes in and gives me a hug. I give them a hug back. It's whatever.
No.
But
Shake
there's
your
never
hand.
been a time where you're going for the shake and they're going for the hug, and you have that awkward.
I've devised a plan. So if they go in for the hug and I go in for the handshake, I wait till like last minute, and then I know for sure that they're going in for a hug. And I'm just like, yeah.
You grab.
I feel like that's obvious. Everybody knows you're the fake
Nobody
handshake
knows.
man.
I think no, it's seriously a big guy thing. Everyone thinks I want hugs.
No, that's true.
Like it is just like, oh, look at him. He's just a big old teddy bear. I
He's a
want to hug
walking
him.
pillow.
And I'm just like, I've never met you before. All right, hug it. Whatever. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It's just funny when I try and give a hug. I'm always the one who needs to receive them, because if I go around giving hugs, that's creepy. That's creepy, because I'm the big teddy bear that hugs.
That's a pimple popper.
Not that
I'm
is
with you.
huggable. Yeah, there you go.
All right. You're listening live from the path. Anyway, give Bob a call. And here's the deal: if you wanted to buy or sell a house, get a hold of Bob. At the very least, feel free to harass Bob and say, "Hey, thanks for sponsoring live from the path, keeping us on the air." Bob the Big Easy does that, and John the Hugger Boova the Third.
He takes away. He's a taker.
He takes, yeah.
He's not a giver.
A stealer.
I'm not a
Also,
giver, I'm a taker.
Westfield Veterinary Hospital here in Johnston. You can go to westfieldvethospital.com, and they can help you out with all your pet needs. Now's the time. Hey, get them caught up. Get them caught up on all their shots and
Man,
stuff.
those vaccines, I mean, seriously, if you're going to take the responsibility, it's much like having a child. If you're going to take the responsibility of owning a pet, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can't just let them roam free, doing the garbage thing and getting diseases. Take them into that vet, let them get looked at every once in a while. Their teeth are not, their breath is not supposed to smell bad. Do you know that?
No,
the
I
vet
had no
tells
idea.
me that the dogs, they said that's a bacteria growing. I said, what?
Really?
And they said, I thought they were trying to, get money from me through some kind of shyster activities.
Like when the guy at the oil change wants you to change out your fluids.
Yeah, he's like, change the fluids. I'm like, whatever. The fluids are probably fine. You don't know anything. You got half the fluids on your face. You don't know cars. But it turns out that these guys are professionals. And, they said, well, what happens when your mouth gets smelly? And I said, I believe it's due to leftover bacteria. And he said, what? Why do you think the dog's mouth is some kind of magical stink factory? You know what I'm saying? You need to get those teeth worked on. Okay, right on. I hear you. So anyway, that's if you got the dog with the stinky breath, A, stop letting him eat the chicken poop, and B, get him in there to have them teeth
The
looked
dog
at.
steals from the garbage. Here, I can't. The dog gets the Elvis grin every time you walk in the door, because you look out and you see the cheese packet out in the middle of the living room, and you look at the dog, and the dog's lip curled. I'm in the garbage man. Brute, they do anything for that?
No, they don't do
got a
dis-
shot for that?
They don't do discipline.
Malfeasance. All right. Anyway, you're listening live from the path. Thanks for hanging out with us, Mike. How do you not disciple like a Pharisee?
Ooh. So I've been reading the Galatians. Anyway, here's the problem with Galatians. Galatians is an excellent book for getting root of the true gospel, what it means to follow Christ, and what it is and what it isn't. And so I was reading through it, and I was thinking, man, he does a lot of talking about basically what had happened is Paul had come through and taught the people of Galatia the gospel of Jesus Christ, that you're saved by faith alone through Christ dying on the cross for you, and that relationship and that continuing of evolving your faith is really rooted in, do you love God or not? There's not a whole bunch of rules tied to it, but it really is based on, do you love God or not? And basically some folks were swinging in behind Paul and saying, yeah, what he said is true, but you also need to be circumcised, and you also need to follow the dietary laws and from the Old Testament. And Paul's like, anybody who speaks the gospel other than what I've told you, let that person be damned. And so it's a big deal. And I thought, crap, when I have been talking to some folks about following Jesus, I feel like I've been a bit heavy on, I don't know, maybe the fruits of the Spirit I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? And I think kind of what I came out to is the fruits of the Spirit it's a sign of the gospel, but it is not the gospel. It's not the first, right? It's not the salvation part of it, right? Peace, love, patience, kindness, whatever. Like those are fruits of the Spirit. There's fruits of your affection towards God, but they are, if you're just a patient guy, that's not salvation, right? If you have love for people, you're not. That's not a relationship with Christ, right? That's just an outpouring of or a metaphor, kind of what your relationship with Christ looks like. And I thought, is there a good way to I don't know, keep as people who are talking to other people about Christ, a good way, to keep yourself in line with that, to make sure you're not pushing laws and rules so much that you're not helping to flourish the relationship with Christ. Because like I said, that like when Jesus came, people like to push heavy on it and say, Jesus said the law is gone, and Jesus didn't break any of the laws of the Old Testament laws of how to live, and he came to fulfill them. And so, but like if you flip that around, once your relationship with God's happens, like you start to seek God's heart, and God and you start to see behavior that starts to kind of match the laws. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the original intent of the law was there to show that you needed a savior. But after you have that savior, and after you have a relationship with God, and truly not even just a relationship, but an affection, a love, a wanting to be in a relationship with him, then your behavior kind of starts to turn around and start to look like the laws without being the rubric in which you're measured. And so, I don't know. I guess that was my question to you guys: is how do you bring people through a discipleship? How do you bring people and to act like they have a relationship with Christ without becoming pharisaical about it? Like, hey, are you stealing? Why are you stealing? Stealing is the rule. Or why you didn't attend church last Sunday? You should have attended church last Sunday. I feel like if you want a relationship with God, that's what you would do. And so like, is there a good way to kind of keep yourself in check to not do that?
Well, I suppose maybe like the first distinction would be: are you introducing them to get to know Jesus, or are you trying to just dress them up to look like Jesus, right? Like, am I trying to give them the tools in which, like, if you wear this, you look hip like Jesus was hip, or am I actually spending time introducing them to Jesus? And I think part of the reason we fall into the trap of trying to teach them how to dress like Jesus is because people understand that. Like, it's pretty easy to understand that they get rules, right? Everyone grew up with rules. Everyone grew up in a house where it said, this is how you act, this is how you don't act. And we give them all the output from Jesus because the authority that he has in your life, but he doesn't carry that same authority in theirs. And so we introduce them to a bunch of ways to act without actually, taking the time to introduce them. Who is Jesus? Like, what is the character of God? Where does this stuff come from? Because if you get to know Jesus and again, right, you have the relationship, you love him, you start to follow him, you will see fruits. You will see those things grow in your life. But I think it's way easier to introduce them to the rules of the kingdom, for example, and how to dress up like Jesus than it is to actually get to know Jesus. And that's a much tougher thing, because getting to know Jesus requires denying yourself, requires actually dropping your agenda and following his. You can start to squeeze some of the fruits of the Spirit types of things, some of the moral code stuff. You can squeeze that into your own agenda. I will keep doing what I do. I'll just do it in this way. Make sure I don't steal when I do it. Yeah. Make sure I don't murder or shoot the robber, right? But like, if you have to actually give up what you're doing and follow Jesus, you see what the output of that is. Are you laughing at steal the robber business?
Yes, I am.
Things just come to mind. But I think that's the distinction. It's way easier for me to say, hey, stop living the life you're living. Like, stop sleeping with your girlfriend. Stop stealing things. Stop using bad language. That's pretty easy to do because we both agree on what behavior is not good. They know it's a problem. But to actually say, this is a real dude. He did this thing for you that you had to have, and it has real forever consequences. That's a much larger, much more invested conversation. It's just way easier to throw out the rules, which I think is how good-natured folks end up that way. Is we pass that stuff on.
I think too, if you focus more on, making sure that they're aware that, your path to heaven isn't through your own actions. It isn't through, what you do or don't do. It's not by works, obviously. Make sure that they're aware and you're aware that, it's only through faith in Christ that you are going to be saved, and that, in the end, those actions don't get you any closer or further away to heaven, which is contrary to what you're talking about, which is these Pharisees who are just, so by the books, and everything is, just so strict on the law, and you get caught up in that and the legality of everything rather than the relationship with Christ. So when you were talking about that, that's what came to mind to me was, if I was a new Christian or a new believer and you're beating me over the head with what to do and what not to do, I would immediately think that, I've got to have this checklist of do's and don'ts to get to heaven, instead of focusing on the relationship aspect of Jesus Christ and just accepting him in your heart,
Yeah. Well, the thing the reason I started thinking about this is because I kind of caught myself doing this a couple weeks ago. I was on a long drive or something, and I kept thinking like, man, there's so many things I need to work on. So many things that I know, areas of where I'm sinning or I'm separating myself from God. I'm like, okay, I got to work on this, and work on this. And finally I thought, this is a fool's parade. Like if I could fix this on my own, I'd have done it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't. And really, I thought there's no way that I'm going to list all the things that I'm not following in step with God's word, and I'm going to start knocking them out one by one. Like I'll have a lifetime in that, and I won't even be a quarter of the way done. And so I thought it's just foolish, and it's not a way to live life. And I thought, I think what I'm going to concentrate on is loving God, because I thought about it and I thought, I don't know that I really love God like I say that I do. Like I know that I want to, and I know that but like I tend to be a person that hides in my Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like I hide from that relationship because like when some people say like you gotta get down and get your quiet time with God, and that quiet time scares the crap out of me. I don't want to spend no hour just sitting about and having an awkward conversation with God because I just don't, right? And I thought, well, is that enough evidence to me to say, hey, look, our relationship's not. It's not what you think it is. You don't really love me. You don't even want to hang out with me for an hour, And I thought, crap, sin is not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Like sin is a problem, but like I was spending more time thinking about my sin than I was my Savior, and like that's way out of whack. That's way out of whack. And I've known Jesus for a while, and I know better than that, But like I don't know what it takes that it comes to a reality that like you set these rubrics and like I read the Bible and I say, okay, obviously the God's heart is not for what I'm doing, and that needs to change. Well, instead of saying I'm going to change it, that's something that you turn around and you pray on and you spend that time with God and say how do you want me to change it? You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to change it? These are things that are gonna that my heart won't desire. It's their processes of the mind that God will slowly take away from you, and it's not going to be a whiz bang right now kind of thing. It's a long process that your heart gets turned facing towards God. And like it's just one of those things that there's no benefit to listing out sin and having at them. Nonstop without addressing the heart issue. If we always say, are you reading your Bible? You're reading your Bible. Well, the problem is that gives people like me a caveat to sit there and read my Bible and not even have to deal, with Jesus at all. Every question I can ask, I can Google. I get to a Bible verse that I'm like, I don't understand what Jesus is asking here. Instead of asking Jesus, I just Google it and find out what a bunch of other guys asked Jesus.
Yeah.
That's not a relationship. That's not the way to roll. And so I think the whole thing that I was getting to is if you're going to, in the process of discipling people, make sure you're pointing back to, really that relationship. And I know we talk about that a lot, and it's kind of a vague category, but it really is. If 1 hour of quiet time between you and God with no Bible and just on your own praying scares you, it's time to look. It's time to look and see what's going on, because that's not how it should be.
When it comes down to making disciples, I agree with most of the points we've been making, because without the relationship with Christ, the laws are pointless to a non-believer. You're pushing yourself to follow laws and to follow decrees and parables and aligning yourself with that stuff for nothing. If Jesus, and we didn't have the relationship with God, we didn't have an all-knowing Father that we could look up to, that we know loves us and that we love, why wouldn't I murder? Why wouldn't I steal?
Holy cats!
I didn't know how this was going to go.
Stay away from Boova when
No doubt. Why wouldn't I murder?
I might just stab you in the face. I might.
Good thing Jesus is standing between you and me, because I got a knife. You're pretty.
Not exactly what I was going
You're
for.
pretty
but there you
downtown,
go.
Boova.
So let's put that back in. Why wouldn't I overeat and put that as my idol? Why wouldn't I fight and cheat my way into getting more and more money, because that's pleasure for my mortal flesh? Why wouldn't I be sexually immoral? Are you kidding me? Those are sins of the flesh, and they're pleasures of the flesh. They're something that the human nature loves. The human condition loves most of that. Maybe not murder, but at least anger.
Like me.
At least absolute anger. Why wouldn't we choose to get so angry at people? Because it feels good sometimes when we do. So without the relationship, without that touch point of, I have a God and I have a Father and I have a Savior who was murdered for me, there's no point in trying to tell someone about the laws. There's no point in trying to tell someone about, this is what it says in Deuteronomy. Well, why am I doing that?
I don't give a flip.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to murder people. Does it speak to that?
See, so I don't know why we wouldn't start out with, here's where you're at. And I want to tell you about the creator of the universe and the God that breathed everything that you can look at, everything that you can experience, everything that you can smell and touch and feel and hear. Everything was breathed into existence by an all-knowing God. And even if he is more times bigger than you could ever even fathom, he loves you with all of his heart, which is big, which is huge. He sent his son to die for all the wicked things that you've done, knowing every bit of it. And that's what it boils down to, is we have a God that loves us. No matter how awful we are, no matter how big he is, no matter how small we are, there's a God that loves you. And every bit of emptiness that you're feeling, every bit of loneliness, every bit of anger, of deceit, of sexual immorality, everything can be filled by his love. And you will not have to worry about it anymore. That's true love. Let's talk about him. I feel like that's the best way to start a disciple conversation.
Yeah, you get him in love with Jesus first, and then we'll talk about the other stuff. And the murder.
And the murder.
Yeah.
I know you've been murdered.
Actually, you know what? Let's stop the murdering first. Yeah. And then we'll move on.
This Jesus sounds interesting, but I'm late for stabbing a man in the face.
This guy made me angry.
Can we come back to this?
Yeah. Morality means nothing to me because I don't have a God. I'm going to shoot somebody.
Give me the Cliff Notes. And can you hand me that barbell? I have violence to do.
You're listening to Live from the Path. Thank you for hanging out so far. Do you think Paul would be a good Mr. Potter? Saul.
I have no idea who that is.
Saul, Mr. Potter?
Have you seen the movie?
No.
Bob, you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life
Thank you
either?
very much.
What do you do with
Thank
your
you for
holidays,
speaking up.
Bob?
I know.
I
That's
appreciate
the black
you
and
speaking
white
up.
movie.
Yeah. Yes, that's the one.
They've colorized
Every
it.
time somebody, what is it?
Every time a bell rings,
Bell
an
rings,
angel
an
gets
angel
wings.
gets
Yeah.
wings.
That's what that's from?
That's the
Yeah.
only part of it I know.
They're
I
doing
didn't even
an
know that
actual
part.
remake.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do. We're
gotta
putting
see the
on
original.
a It's a Wonderful Life party, and the Big Easy and John Boover coming.
Seriously, I don't know how you've lived life. There's got to be so many jokes that you don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
true.
guys have all
No,
seen it
there's-
except us two.
It has wide cultural pervasiveness for you to have not seen it.
From the 50s.
Yeah.
And they play it every year. It's a classic.
I know. I've had opportunities to watch it, and I've felt obligated to watch it at times.
But instead, I murdered a man.
Man, I need
Because I don't live by the law.
Not your
Deuteronomy
law.
means nothing to me. Come here. I'll kill you.
By no means. All right. You're listening live from the path. Hey, keep an eye out for that album, though. You do the digital download. We don't do physical distribution. You got to do the digital download. Amazon, Spotify, iTunes. You can do it.
Which album?
For our Christmas from the Path Volume 1.
Gotcha.
Should be this week. Hey, so check this out. There's a prophet. So they're talking about Cindy Jacobs. Prophecy for the Philippines by Cindy Jacobs video goes viral. And I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. So it says, Christian minister Cindy Jacobs described as a respected prophet in her online biography.
Absolutely.
Made
Online
a-
biography is the truth.
Made a prediction in 2009. Check out this prediction, though. That the Philippines would either experience a period of greatness or some troubled times.
You're kidding me.
Wow.
Is that from Isaiah?
Definitely
Israel, you're,
Turkey.
Things will be good or they will be bad.
there's either going to be a drought or a plethora of crops.
While Jacob's 2009 video prediction has gone viral amid the island nation's current calamity from Typhoon Haiyan. Now listen. What's it from the American President movie? You don't have to drink the sand, all right? In the absence of other things going on, you don't have to see the mirage and just latch onto it and say, "Oh, she's a prophet of ingenuity," because she said a good thing may happen or a bad thing may happen. That's not a genius. That's a normal inference. Okay?
That's not even a gambler.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just dead on true no matter what you say.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the average 4-year-old could predict
Yeah.
feast or famine.
Yeah. I will live tomorrow or I will die.
The Hawkeyes will win or lose
Yeah.
this Saturday. I know that.
I'm willing to bet on both.
I would be so embarrassed if I were her and they were passing that around. It's like, that's my prophecy. I mean, some people. I mean, here's the deal. I can respect, although disagree, and be afraid for the influence of a man who makes a bold prediction that's dead wrong. Right? The end of the world guy.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he was dead wrong in front of millions of people, but he at least put it out there and sold it pretty specific. This date, this time, this is what's going to go down.
Yeah.
Well, could rain, could not. She's like a meteorologist, right? With no accountability. No. I'm legit. I tell what goes down. Good things or bad things. Anyway, I just thought, like, how embarrassing that you're such like a low-level, shallow prophet that the best you could do is good or bad may go down. And you had to wait for 4 years for people to even bother to listen.
Did she say it was in this specific year?
No.
No. In
It could be
2009,
any
that's
year.
what she said.
She just made a prediction in 2009 that the Philippines would either experience a period of greatness or some troubled times.
In the near future or the recent past.
Yeah.
It will be good or bad. Definitely, maybe.
Does anyone have the Farmer's Almanac? What was the rain like in the Philippines?
The so-called
been
Prophet of Generals International says, I want you to pray the next never mind. The next 2 years, the Lord is showing me, are going to be extremely significant for the Philippines. Either it's going to go on to greatness, it's going to be that transformation, or I see that there's going to be some troubled times. So she's 2 years wrong on a very general and vague prophecy. So pray, she says, which features a dramatic...
Pray for what? How am I supposed to guide my prayers based on that information? Lord, I pray that you either smite them terribly or bring them greatness, depending on your will. Love you. What do you?
Cuddles.
How do you even do anything about that?
Anyway, I thought it was kind of embarrassing.
That is kind of
Like, I would, if that's the best I had, I would hold tight on the word prophet on my business card.
That is the best you have.
And
You're
tell-
not a prophet. Very similar to her.
There's a picture of her in this video holding the world.
She got
Absolutely.
the whole world in her hands.
Yeah. He had the whole world in his hands until they gave it to her to borrow. Dear, live from the path. My mother-in-law tends to embrace every pitiful creature she comes in contact with. This Thanksgiving, she's invited my ex-boyfriend and his wife to her home to share in the festivities.
What a dig.
Ooh. My ex was abusive to me most of the time, and we did not end on good terms. The woman he cheated on me with is now his wife. Wow. Poor discernment in-law lady. My ex was sneaky manipulative, and I believe his only reason for wanting to be there is to check up on me and my husband.
Yeah.
I've explained this to my husband and his mother and told them I don't feel comfortable with the situation. They both told me that I am overreacting and that he was part of my past and I have since moved on. I feel the family I love has betrayed me. The idea of my ex being involved in what should be a comfortable family day has me afraid and uneasy. Am I overreacting, or is my husband's mother being unreasonable?
I don't think I have enough information to answer this question. Does it say how long ago it was?
Well, they're both married, so they're both now married. I assume it's, I don't know. Let's call it 2 years.
I wonder if it's not true. I wonder if she was the reason that thing broke up and the thing was not accurate. Otherwise, why would the husband and the husband's mom both be like, nah, it's not a big deal. Maybe she's a drama woman.
I'm curious where they met this cat, right? If it was her ex-boyfriend and it's the mother-in-law, her now husband's mom, inviting him.
Yeah,
like,
that's
where'd
an
they
odd
run
connection.
into this guy?
Maybe I think she's leaving out some sort of detail. Like maybe it's his brother or something.
Ooh,
Or his best
be
friend.
awkward.
could be his brother.
And like how did she open it? My mother-in-law takes in pity cases.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a waif. He's a married man. He's bringing his wife. I don't know. I feel like she's shifty on this one.
You feel like there's information missing, Bob?
Yeah, I was having a hard time following it, like the
whole structure.
ex-boyfriends and husbands and
Yeah. So let's do a quick breakdown again.
you got a diagram or anything?
Okay. So there's a gal.
Okay.
Okay. She's married.
Yep.
Okay. Her husband's mother-in-law has invited her ex-boyfriend and his new wife. His new wife is the one that the boyfriend had left the lady for because she was cheating on him, or he was cheating on her.
That's what she said, yeah.
Yeah, so she claimed that she was being cheated on by this other woman, and now they're married, and now the ex-boyfriend, not husband, ex-boyfriend and his new bride are now coming to the in-laws Thanksgiving.
Okay, you did not clarify that at all. I understood it before you started talking.
Dang.
Okay. Oh, here's the example. It would be like if my wife's mom invited my wife's ex-boyfriend
Okay.
and his wife
That's weird.
to come to dinner for Thanksgiving.
Where did it meet him? Canasta? I mean, what kind of club do you have to be to know this man?
Canasta?
I don't know what people do.
No,
This wasn't her mom. This was her
husband.
Her husband's mom.
Yeah.
Her new husband's
inviting
mom.
her.
Ex-boyfriend
Ex-boyfriend?
and his
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be some connection there.
We're all just like,
there.
yeah, there's something in there.
I think the mother-in-law just doesn't like her.
Think so? Like
yeah.
she'd seek him out?
She's meddling.
Even-
She's trying to push her out of the family.
Right. Even if we're missing information and this gal is a drama queen, if that's true, why would the mother-in-law invite the ex-boyfriend that she claims to have been abused by and cheated on?
Those big questions will be answered after the break. If you're hanging out on the podcast, we got to let you go. You're listening to Live from the Past. Big thanks to the Eisenlauer team and Westfield Veterinary Hospital for sponsoring the show. Make sure to give them some love. Take your dog in. Sell a house.
Buy a house.
Buy a house. And tell them thanks for sponsoring Live from the Path. We will see you next week. Unless you listen to the podcast. And then we'll be back in just a minute. You bet. Okay. Was your thought done, Bova?
If you can answer those questions, sure.
Yeah, I think there's something ain't right about this woman. I'm saying
Okay, your entire advice is there's something ain't right about that woman.
I still think
I'm saying like the whole premise is so outrageous that her new husband's mom has invited the man that beat and cheated on her over for Thanksgiving dinner with his wife. Sounds so implausible to me that either the mother is crazy or the daughter is lying. Those are my two options. There's not a reasonable portion of this discussion.
Can you read just the first two lines real quick again? Just
Okay.
the first two lines.
First two lines. My mother-in-law tends to embrace every pitiful creature she comes in contact with.
Okay, stop right there. So that's where I got like when embrace pitiful creature that she comes across. I'm thinking, that a stray dog.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, to go
She let
from
a raccoon in the
embracing
house.
a pitiful creature, yeah, I can understand. She's got a big heart. She wants to take care, but to go from that, to reaching out somewhere for this ex-boyfriend, that's not
Right.
embracing something that's
No,
falling
that's
in your lap.
calculated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So those two just seem disconnected, from one sentence to another.
I'm with Ben. This lady's all over the place.
Where's his family? Like, no
Why
one's
does
asked
no-
this question yet. Why is the ex-boyfriend and wife now with his ex-girlfriend and husband, her husband's?
Go.
That's why I think it's a brother. I think she's not saying. I think it's her husband's brother.
I dated my husband's brother. He cheated on me, and then
Okay, but
beat
in
me.
that case,
I
the
think that's a lie.
mother-in-law would not be outrageous to invite her own son.
That's correct. I think the woman that wrote the letter is 2 bits crazy. I
So
think
that's
she's
our advice. See a mental institution
yeah.
because you have fabricated a story.
dear woman. I am on to you.
This
Sincerely,
this is
live from the path.
This is a listener of your show, right? I mean, presumably.
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
It's very unlikely.
Absolutely.
It
Bob,
is-
don't you know where we get these live from the past from?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, we take Dear Abby columns,
Oh.
and then we call them Dear Live from the Path, and then we always say, and secular says. Dear Abby is secular.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking this
That
is
was
somebody
awesome.
that's listening probably right now.
I feel like you just
kinda
write checks
bad.
and don't even listen to the show.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about you. Don't change your ways. I'm just saying.
Don't change your ways.
What is this? What is the secular advice?
The secular advice is,
You're crazy.
I do not think you're overreacting. It was insensitive of your mother-in-law to invite your abusive ex and his wife to the gathering without first checking with you.
I'm sure.
Hi, honey, it's your mother-in-law. I'm going to invite your abusive ex-boyfriend and his wife to Thanksgiving. Cuddles.
I will
Okay.
not be available by text message for a couple of days.
Okay, here's the deal. That's not funny if this woman's not 2 bits of nuts, right? Like the whole situation is not funny if like everything that she's saying is true. I
One
just
of them's
find that
nuts.
yeah, somebody not right in that situation. Like
know
like you're right because like if I've been attacking the woman that wrote the letter, so let's assume that she's telling the truth and the mom has invited the boyfriend anyway. Yeah, the mom is vindictive. I'm with Dan. She doesn't like this woman and she's
Yeah, you had
trying
to do
make her life
research to
difficult.
find the guy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Facebook messages.
Hey,
Let's find him.
do you have Larry's number? I mean, I know you broke up on bad terms and everything. But
No reason. He cleans carpets, right? Yeah. I'll have him come over and eat for Thanksgiving. Booyah, mother-in-law wins. Tail end is the secular says, I don't think you're overreacting, blah, 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 blah. I can see why this would not be something you would look forward to. Frankly, it's surprising that your mother-in-law would even know your ex, let alone invite him to her home.
brother,
Bruh.
that's a brother.
Maybe
Okay.
cousin.
This one's an actual Dear Life from the Path. Dear Life from the Path. I teach at a Sunday school, and we were talking about the sovereignty of God. And one of the younger gentlemen in my Sunday school class brought up to the fact that God is just kind of important, but not really the be all end all. Really, when compared to Zeus and other gods, I feel like I have plenty of time to get to know whichever God that I want. How do I help explain to him the difference between the God of the Bible and all the other gods that he has picked to be God in his life?
How old?
12 ish.
Explain that.
Here's the weird part of this story too. Is this young man has picked his favorite god as being a god that has weird non-like god powers, right? Like I think he can fly, and that's that's about it. And like the sun, like one of them is an Egyptian god, that is only in charge of one thing. You notice most other gods are in charge of like water or some kind of sun.
Yeah.
And like he's picked a god that is he's one dimensional. He's a one dimensional deity.
Uh-huh.
And so anyway, the question strives from an actual Sunday school teacher that I was talking to that says we've kind of gone round and round, and his parents do attend the church, but he puts God in category with other lowercase g gods. How would you go about tackling that subject?
Ask him questions, I guess. He's got to have, you would think he or hope he's got some kind of reason or logic for believing what he's believing. And, maybe you can figure out how to tackle it by, seeing how deep or shallow his logic is, just by probing and asking him questions.
To see if he's a logic man who believes in gods that can fly.
Yeah, or how did he come to this belief and why?
I feel like it's comic books and Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, right?
I think one of the biggest problems, and I hate to jump to this, is it's lack of parenting.
Dad's not going to take that well.
I'm sorry. You have a 12-year-old who obviously is reading books, or has some outward influence that is causing. I believe in Zeus, and I believe in Set or Sekhmet or whatever. I mean, all the Egyptian gods, the polytheistic gods that were
Sekhmet.
It's the pink packets you put in your tea.
Yes. I believe in
I've known
sweet
people.
low.
I've
gives
known
the-
people that work
he
at
gives
Sackmouth.
He gives the cancer.
I don't think he really believes in these gods. That's just his form of rebellion.
That's a good call.
You don't think
I
he
hope
knows?
so.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No,
He may not have a true belief in God, but
Yeah.
he knows that would get under his parents' skin.
Something needs to be explained. Either that's the situation, or if he honestly believes it, I would say that we need to explain that those are stories that have been told by, other people that were passed down as stories, and we believe in a living God that actually has power.
He's gonna say, "Not me, though. I believe in Sackmouth."
Yeah. I would say his life probably doesn't reflect that he believes in Zeus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, because there's a difference between what you say you believe in. Like if you were standing in a room over here next to the studio, and I said Zeus will be here in 3 minutes, prepare yourself. We're talking Zeus here. Would you do anything, or would you be like, "Whoa, let's be crazy"?
No,
and
that's
showed up.
That's actually a fairly good point, right? Like, and that's not a bad tactic. So, you follower of all these multiple gods, let me see what your week looks like in preparation for your meeting with them.
Yeah. And they're not compatible. You can't have a flying Egyptian god and Zeus in the same arena. They do not get along. One would destroy the other. You worship a war.
This guy he's I'm making him character sketch. He's a farmer's son who claims to be a vegetarian while he's eating a burger. But just put it all spiritual. He knows. Because obviously
Did you say burger or bird?
burger.
It doesn't matter.
on.
Either one works.
I think bird works too.
Yeah,
Meat,
but
eating
bird
meat
makes it sound like
while
raw
claiming to be a
bird, like
vegetarian.
grabbed him out of the sky and took a honk bite out of
It's
him.
total his little rebellion stage he's going through. He's trying to tick off mom and dad and impress everybody else how awesome
Yeah,
he is.
I've thought through this, and I really do love Zeus.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
I'm a big fan of lightning.
Congratulations.
What if that's not the case, though? What if he really believes in all these guys?
He
Do you think
doesn't.
it's just a logic thing?
It's not
Like to know what
tenable.
it's based
Nobody
on.
continues to believe in Zeus. Nobody.
When you look into it,
Yeah.
past the comic book element.
What does it mean to believe in Zeus? What does that do?
Yeah.
How does that
hang out in
affect you on
Greece
Monday
a lot.
morning?
I'm sure there's people out there who do it just
Yeah.
because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think
They're
they run
taking stuff, but-
they run online communities so they can sell ashtrays and incense. That's people that claim to love Zeus do.
You know nothing of the Zeus world.
I love Zeus.com. Buy
You know-
incense.
I love
You know
Zeus.com.
nothing of it.
Get your Zeus dolls
No.
here. I love Zeus.com.
Even people that hate God don't claim to love Zeus. They just don't. It's not a tenable situation.
I want
Okay.
to see the march
hates
for
his
people who
parents.
love Zeus.
You look-
You just think he hates his parents. That's it.
Yeah.
And the Sunday school teacher, apparently.
Well, sure.
I think. I agree with Dan. It's just a form of rebellion. It's you're saying something so outrageous, but the thing is, you can't prove it. We can prove Zeus doesn't exist. Good luck.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this: like, let's say the parents do attend the church and live nothing like that. No God in the house, really. Just a religious attendance on Sunday, right? Is it outrageous to think that the kid is latched onto a bunch of?
No, I was actually thinking that today when I was driving in. I was thinking about what do you? I've never had the conversation where I had to approach someone who actually believed in a different God that they would recognize in a God. They got idols, but they wouldn't call them that, right? But actually talking to someone who believes in a different God, and I thought, that's at least a place to start. Because we're in agreement that there's something bigger than you, and that's kind of a tough bridge. So, okay, we got something to move from. Now the question is, what is it that's actually bigger than you? What actually fits in that mold, And so I suppose the kid that like legitimately has latched onto a God that is not the God, I probably have a different place to start than someone who says there is no God. And especially the Zeus guy, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, right? Because I think we can walk through some pretty logical examples where like there's no one that's holding on to Zeus. Even the Greeks have let Zeus go. So I mean, and the thing is like if you're gonna accept Zeus, you got to take the whole myriad of people. It's not an option just to keep one.
That's true. How downright stubborn do you have to be to look at the Egyptian race these days, realize that none of them worship the Egyptian gods, like nobody, and go, I'm sticking with it here in Middle America.
Yeah, you made a
Those
mistake.
Egyptian fools.
You bailed too early. This is the way to live.
Yeah, I think you actually have a place to start with someone who agrees that there's somebody bigger than them.
That's a good point.
That's actually a decent place to go from.
Yeah.
Okay, one more Dear Live from the Path.
Okay.
Dear Live from the Path, for the last 10 years, a family of 4 has come to our home for every Christmas and Easter meal. It started when my wife invited a coworker. They had no family in town and nowhere else to go. My wife's relationship with the woman has cooled, but the family assumes they are automatically invited and show up without being asked. They spend more time talking to our other family members than they do to us. How do I politely let them know we no longer wish for them to come to our family meals?
You don't. There's not a polite
Yeah,
way to
you
do
don't.
that. Think. What are you gonna say? Anytime you reject somebody, it doesn't matter under what terms. There's no way that's gonna come off polite.
Kind of like when you tell somebody that the sun god Ray is not the way to live.
Exactly.
He's not gonna like it.
It's not gonna be well accepted. Hey, we prefer if you not come anymore.
Move.
What do you?
You know what? I know a guy.
Yeah. Sell a house, buy a house, get out of Dodge.
Do it multiple times. Here's my card.
Leave no paper trail.
You can use our moving van and get a free hug
That's right. Yeah.
from the Big Easy.
from the Big Easy Hug Man. Your business card's gotten outrageously long, Bob. Okay, no, but legitimately, what do you do about this? They moved into town, what was it, 4 years ago? And they didn't have any family around. You're like, you know what, why don't you just come over to our place for Thanksgiving?
I can solve this. Revive the relationship. Make it so it's not a problem. Because there's nothing. What are you going to say? We prefer it to be just our family. It's been their family and them for the last 4 years. So either the last 4 years was a lie or this is a lie.
Isn't it kind of
I thought you said
implied?
10.
No, is it 10?
I think it's 4.
Hold on.
You solve that by revitalizing the relationship.
No, it's been 10. Boo was right.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, not 4.
Yeah, boy, you could if you'd have tackled this year 2, I think you might have had something.
Yeah.
But 10
Yep.
years in, you're done.
Yeah, last year was an exception. We were trying to be nice, but we would like this to go back to, a family thing.
Yeah, they're gonna die in your house
10
watching
years
Lawrence Welk. That's it.
10 years now. The last 9 years has kind of been just kind of an exception, but this year, we don't want you anymore. You sound like a jerk no matter what.
I think you be honest with them and just say, hey, guess what? The family's changed. It's just time. Let's just do something different. This is getting kind of old.
It's time to shake it up and do the same thing,
Yeah.
except without you.
Yeah, we're gonna do exactly the same thing, but you're not coming.
We need some different recipes, and we feel like you guys are kind of keeping us in the old. We need you to go.
Dan, you are the worst veiled passive-aggressive man I've ever heard in my life.
But wouldn't truly passive aggressive just plan a vacation and just be gone when they show up?
Yes.
Or maybe send them an
yes,
invite
yes.
to like
Be
a
honest
different
and tell
person's
them.
house. Hey, Thanksgiving's at this person's house this year. Wink.
It's a very expensive movement, Dan. Well, we decided to go on a vacation, all of us in the family, just so we weren't home when you showed
I know.
up.
That's why I say that's a bad idea. You just got to be honest with them and have the conversation, or tell them it's a costume party and.
Okay, all right. So
What if they show up in costume?
let's try
Dan?
this.
You
Let's
guys look
say
like idiots.
the better part of valor is to tell them the truth. What do you say? Like, how do you word what that? You just
Our
say
families have changed.
we've grown apart.
I would want to know what they mean by the relationship has cooled.
Here's the deal. From the way it reads, the wife's relationship with them has cooled. And one of the things that they said is that they talk to our other family members more than they talk to us. So it sounds like they're just jealous. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're just upset that they're not I brought the guy, you should be hanging around with me on my side as my wingman. And you dumped on me to go hang out with my grandpa, and I feel that's not right. They're just hurt.
I wonder what the rest of the family's reaction will be when they're not invited to the next year.
Where are the Johnsons?
Yeah. Well, we told them the relationship had cooled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they weren't invited anymore.
You what?
That's my
Nancy
favorite
makes,
part of the year.
Nancy makes the best deviled eggs ever. Now we're back to Uncle Ned doing it.
I say you
And he's
maybe
awful.
invite her exes and her wife, husband.
See if they have any really weird ex-boyfriends
Yeah.
who want to come to their
When they come in the
Thanksgiving.
house, you bust out in your boxies with a weapon and say, "Not in here."
Is it wrong to go faux Jehovah's Witness for like one meal, just to creep them out?
Yes. However,
do you
I
have a
think faking
Jeho-
amnesia
How
is
do you
not
have a
bad.
Jehovah's Witness meal?
You act like you're a Jehovah's Witness.
Like what? Every
lot
time you
changed
take a
since
bite
last
and
year.
say, "By the way, I'm Jehovah's Witness." Pass turkey. Thanks for the turkey, fellow
you
Jehovah's Witnesses.
you get a bunch of watchtowers on you. You lay them out.
You might as well just do Zeus.
A lot's changed since last year. We're sacrificing this meal to Zeus.
I
just
made
so you know.
lightning bolt macaroni.
I suppose all of that, like being careful, is you're trying to protect some semblance of relationship. But I suppose if you don't care, you don't care. Just be like, yeah, hey,
It's already cooled.
yeah. I feel like we've grown apart. Yeah. Maybe you should do Thanksgiving at your own place.
Have you
Well,
ever?
remember, they do Thanksgiving and Easter. So what do they do if they say, hey, you're not welcome to Thanksgiving, and then a couple months later they show up for Easter, and they're like, this is awkward.
do you not do it face to face? You send them a letter.
No, that
is-
sounds like face.
What does
That
it
is
matter whether
pansy and
it's
disrespectful.
okay? And what does it matter whether it's pansy? You're throwing them out of your own Thanksgiving. I feel like
I feel like
letter's
if
the
you're
best way.
making this bold decision, you better stand up and do it.
It's not bold. It's been stewing for years.
Yeah, but the problem is the truth
know
is
that?
the truth is not standing on any type of tradition. Like, if you're gonna tell them the truth, you gotta tell them the whole truth. Like the whole
And nothing
truth
but the
is
truth.
that the relationship is cooled, and I'm really not sure what you're doing here anymore. You know, like you want to frame it under our traditions have changed or the situation's different. Why don't you just tell them the whole truth if you're going to come out there with the truth and say,
Because I think it's embarrassing and shallow. Because I think it's only the wife. I think the wife is cooled. I think the rest of the family enjoys it. I think the husband probably does too. I think the wife is cool, and he's trying to passive aggressive, but at his wife by writing this letter.
You think you know a guy. You don't know a guy.
I know a guy.
That's not what happened.
That's yeah, it is. It's the same guy who goes, yeah, your mom said you can't have any candy.
You thought it was 40 years, man.
That's
It was
that
10.
guy.
I'd totally let that guy have some candy. Bob, how would you get out of this situation?
I think I would suggest the kind of pass it forward method and, be honest with them and say, look, we were invited you because you didn't have any connections here, and, we were trying to be kind to you, and, we were thinking, maybe after a year or two of us doing that with you, you guys could find somebody else that were in your position, that's in your position now, that's new to the area, and then have them over to your house, and just
Then say, but you didn't do that. Instead,
And you've been mooching off us
you
for 10
pariahed
years.
yourself.
yeah, and so we thought you would do that without a suggestion.
we were totally wrong
We
about
were
you.
completely wrong about you.
Turns out you're a
Please bring the
jerk.
pecan
Now, by the
pie.
way, you're not invited to Thanksgiving or Easter. You should move back to where your family was 10 years ago. Then you can have Thanksgiving and Easter with them. Get out of my house.
Here we go. Secular says, your wife should tell her coworker that your plans for the holidays have changed, that the two of you are scaling back the festivities to include only family members.
Lies.
They are scaling it back to include only family
It doesn't
members.
say that it's only
The scale
family.
back is them.
That's yeah.
This says, yeah.
That's like saying, hey, Todd, we're going through a time of transition in our company, and some folks may not still work here.
Like you.
Like you only.
Yeah. We're letting you go.
Anyway, Todd, them's the breaks.
You're fired, you dummy.
I'm doing an extermination like that.
Pick up your crap and get out. What do you want to make a sign? Seriously, Todd, why do you got to be so dense? This is why we're firing you.
We've grown cold.
We've gone cold.
We thought we kind of expected you to move on to another company, and it didn't happen. So now we're going to tell you to go. That's going to work, Bob.
Let's just say you're not invited to Thanksgiving.
She should be sure to convey this news in plenty of time for the coworker to make other arrangements, whether it will be preparing something herself or getting together with another family. Now would be a perfect time to do it. Okay, hold on. We got time for one more.
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
is small. I would like a dear life from the path. I would like to be fluent in another foreign language, but I don't have enough time to practice the language. What could I do?
Skip it or get more time.
Yeah. I don't know what happened here. You know what I'm saying?
You could become really, really bad at the language.
I'd like to.
I feel,
You define already how badly you
I
want
feel
to
like
learn it.
I feel like fluency is kind of a high bar for I don't really have the time.
Buy groceries only from a Mexican supermarket.
I want to be awesome at something, but I have no time to devote. What are your thoughts?
I really want to learn how to play guitar, but I don't have the time. I think I'm just going to learn that one riff.
I would like to meet Zeus, but he's imaginary. What should I do?
I think you should.
I feel like my hands are tied.
I really think that fluency is a high bar to set. I think learning a couple odd sentences is okay. It's like, wait, head is cabeza in Spanish. I have time for that.
I'm sorry. What is the secular advice?
Hold on, I bet she answers seriously. Regardless of what language you want to learn, it won't be possible unless you are willing to put in the time to practice. If I were you in your situation, I'd take a basic grammar class in the language, then try to find exchange students who speak it and spend time with them. All of that takes minimal time, incidentally.
Yeah.
The classes and finding other foreign people.
Dear Craigslist, I'd like an exchange student to come over and help me.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Casual
commit any time.
conversation.
Yeah. By the way, I'd like to take up lots of hours of your time knowing very little of your culture or language. And frankly, I'm not even interested. I'm just trying to steal what you know.
Local male looking for casual conversation to pick up on the language.
Oh boy. And if you're not married and find an attractive man among them, that will give you even more incentive.
Did you really say that?
Yeah, that really took a turn.
Seriously, the end of it?
Yeah. That's the advice is if you'd like to learn a foreign language, fall in love with a foreign language person, and then you'll be incentivized to be able to talk sweet nothings to them.
I don't have time to learn a language, but protects I could pick up a husband. Classic. Sorry, babe, I don't have time.
I didn't have time to.
Those were the terms we agreed on, right?
I don't have time. No.
No mucho time. We're going to get out of here. They are, all right. Whatever. Have a good week. Do what you want.
Want access to amazing grooming, beauty, and lifestyle products? Then you need Birchbox. For just $10 a month for women and $20 a month for men, we'll deliver 4 to 5 deluxe samples to your doorstep. You'll get to try products from the